The great white shark is one of the most terrifying sea creatures known to man. Always portrayed as the shark that devours men, they have gained quite the reputation for simply being the scariest type of sea creature you can encounter. Encounters with these animals seem like something that is straight out of a nightmare, but these encounters remind us that a scary rendezvous with a great white is always within the realm of possibility.
Point!
Johan, Francois, René, and Eric went on a spearfishing trip in South Africa when the unexpected happened to them. Johan was underwater when a great white started to circle him. He tried to ward it off the best he could, but the shark continued to come back. He eventually managed to use his spearfishing gear to ward the big shark off before making his way quickly to the surface to signal the boat. You can hear him shouting, "White, white," at the boat before it comes to pick him and his 3 friends. They are lucky to leave this very scary situation relatively unharmed. This other spear fisherman, Joe Petrovich, was out on a fishing trip in Aussie waters when he had his own scary encounter with a great white. He originally just planned to dive and use his trusty spear gun on some pink snapper, but this very spear gun turned out to be what saved him from probably losing a limb and his life. 300 meters from his boat, he encountered a great white shark that wasn't scared of him in any manner at all. He tried to fend off the large fish, but the shark still remained persistent, trying to find an opening so it could attack him. The spear gun came in handy as it kept the shark at distance consistently before it gave up. The shark then left Joe alone as he quickly swam back to his boat. Murky waters always pose a safety hazard for people that dive in them. Who knows what horror lies beyond what you can properly see? A scary situation happened to this diver as he got nudged just a little by a great shark that was passing by. Who knows whether the shark actually wanted a bite and missed, or the shark didn't sense the diver either. In hindsight, the diver can be happy that he managed to get out of a sharky situation which he didn't even know was happening at the time. Combining spear fishermen with the uncertainty of murky waters, this diver thinks this is a routine spear fishing trip for him. Unbeknownst to him, a great white is creeping up behind him. The shark manages to bite off one of his fins, and as soon as the fiver realizes what is going on, panic begins to set in. The fiver scrambles to his spear gun and begins to mount a last-ditch defense against the shark before the shark mounts him as dinner. He manages to get his gun to work just in time and use it to fend the large animal away. Before he too scrambles to safety. Truly, a close shave with a dangerous animal. This great white moves to a diver in his cage with intentions to intimidate. Or could it be simple curiosity? Either way, it wants to break into the cage and it wants to get to the diver now. Poking its nose at the cage, it seems like the shark intends to break into the barrier between it and the diver. Lucky for the diver, however, the shark is unable to break into the enclosement and promptly gives up and swims away, probably looking to bite another day. This man dives from the harbor into the water, probably for a bit of fun, and almost immediately regrets his life decisions when he encounters a shark just beneath the surface. His screams of terror can be heard as he swims frantically away from the shark. He wants to get as far as possible away from the animal before finding land, but he quickly realizes that he can't easily climb back to his diving spot. He swims away frantically with the shark very close to him, and he somehow manages to direct the shark away from where he is. He then sees land that isn't too high for him to come out of the water from and goes there as quickly as he can. From the footage, you can see that perhaps the shark is curious as to what fell down from the sky, but if I were the man, I'd rather not take my chances coming in close contact with a great white.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh, whoa! I'm videoing right now.
What?
Holy, that's you! We were just talking about
My
that.
mind is like right on it.
Oh my
Hopefully I
God.
don't get. Look at the size of that.
Look at him!
Boat.
He could tip the boat over. Look at him! Oh my God!
That's incredible.
Oh my God! He was.
On a boat out at sea, these people on holiday get disturbed by a shark large enough to tip over their vessel. As curious as the shark is, they are lucky enough to not be in any serious danger, as the shark seems mostly uninterested in trying to harm them in any way. The shark ends up getting bored and leaving the people, but from the audio, you can see that they were very scared of what could potentially happen to them. Quiet fishing trip at sea quickly gets scary as a shark decides this would be a good time to attack the boat in this clip. This boat is not as lucky as the previous one, however, as the shark in this video is actually interested in trying to assault that vessel and the people in it. The skipper takes initiative and quickly drives the boat as far as possible away from the shark. A slow motion replay of the encounter shows the size of the shark tail and the sheer amount of water the tail can disrupt in a single swing. These fishermen can count themselves lucky to not be in the way of this assailant. This diver comes across a great white on his underwater expedition into murky waters. The man encounters a great white and seems unfazed by the sight of a scary underwater killer. The shark approaches him, but the man doesn't flinch or move to a safer spot away from the animal. That lapse in judgment, however, brings instant regret for the diver as the shark quickly proceeds to take a huge chunk out of his arm, quickly swimming away from the man as he bleeds out. Fortunately for the diver, he survives the encounter quite easily and is just hospitalized. In the end, the injury sustained wasn't life-threatening, and he returned to doing what he loved with nothing more than a scar. Hopefully Hopefully he can be more cautious around sharks this time. This great white decides that this is its time to make a grand entrance amongst these fishes that are usually its prey. Something unexpected happens, however, as the shark decides to leave its usual prey and go for the divers in a cage. The shark can't just seem to make it past the cage barrier though, as it gets stuck in its attempts several times. These divers are relatively safe in their cage, as the shark, after getting stuck several times, finally decides that it is a good time to leave the divers alone. The divers are visibly and audibly happy, as the shark that was hell-bent on making their diving expedition a living hell leaves them alone to probably focus on other endeavors.
Oh, Jesus. What the fuck is that? Oh, he's lifting. Oh, Jesus. It's a porpoise. Oh. Oh. Yeah, I gotta snap that line. I don't want that. All right, snapping the line. Holy lifting. Yeah, let it go. Cutting the line. There it goes.
An ordinary fishing trip takes a turn for the weird and scary in this clip. This man goes out on his kayak, hoping to catch some big mackerel, but he doesn't know that there is no mackerel on the other end of his line this time. He has somehow managed to catch a great white on his fishing line. He and the shark immediately enter a battle of strength, as the shark that has been caught tries to swim away like nothing has happened at all. The fisherman is extremely lucky that the shark isn't strong enough to drag him very far off course, or even worse, capsize his small vessel. After a moment of back and forth between the fisherman and the shark that keeps trying to drag him away, the fisherman gives up and decides to finally cut his line and allow the fish to go free. Nobody truly wants to have a great white on the end of their fishing line, probably out of fear of their own life. Also, the animal is really strong. This kayaker, however, isn't as lucky as the previous one to not get knocked into the ocean by a great white. His ordinary fishing trip is literally turned upside down by the animal. You can see the very obvious fear in his face as he realizes that the animal he has caught on his line is one that can easily tear him apart. It's too late for him, however, as the shark goes around his little kayak and knocks him straight into the ocean, making him lose his fishing line. His kayak is also tuned upside down, but it resets itself as he quickly climbs outside the ocean and goes straight back into his boat. Lucky for him, he escapes the encounter with no injuries and is only just shook after being knocked into the ocean by such an animal. If only there were bigger and more suitable vessels that would be resistant to situations like these. A group of divers off the coast of Guadalupe encounter a great white that seems curious as to what the weird machine in its waters are. The shark first tries to take a bite out of the ribber that is at the side of the cage before proceeding to see if it can make its way into the cage that is protecting the divers. The divers can count themselves safe, however, because the cage is more than strong enough to hold the shark back, but however, it must be said that encounters like these are usually too scary. The shark also bares its teeth at the divers, perhaps as a reminder that it is not to be messed with.
Hey, der Ball ist ein Schlauchboot. Ist der blöd? Ja. Hey, der Ball ist ein Schlauchboot. Ist der blöd?
In the ocean off the coast of South Africa, a seal-watching group and their tour guide are on a trip in the middle of the ocean with a rubber boat. The obvious dangers of using a vessel like this so far from the shore become more evident as a great white is hell-bent on taking huge chunks out of the rubber boat. The tour guide instantly notices that there are holes in the rubber boat that would instantly cause them to sink and quickly scrambles to get him and everyone on the boat to safety. The shark refuses to let go, however. The fate of everyone in the vessel is unknown, but it's best to assume that they all got to safety, and I hope they all learn dangers of using rubber vessels while out at sea.